Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Dr. Tom LaHue. We're going to be looking at the CliftonStrengthsFinder strength of the developer. So if you're the kind of person that cares about other people and you love to see other people grow and develop and you tend to see the possibilities in other people, then this is your strength. If you struggle with that because you may be a little more focused on the task at hand or your own personal success, then this is a good video or a good study for you to encourage you to lean a little more into that developer skill. Now, before we get started, just a reminder, in the description below is a link to my website, tomlahue.com. I do offer a lot of different on-demand courses, and I do have a couple of courses already uploaded on. I've packaged all this up together for you on Clifton Strength Finders, and I'm continuing to add to those courses. And you can check those out on my on-demand classes page. There's a discount code there for you, and also all my notes that I'm looking at. For every one of these, I have a book and a card and about 4 or 5 pages of notes. All these notes are available in that course if you want to explore more Clifton Strength Finders. It's a fantastic tool that I use along with the Enneagram to help understand more about ourselves and how we show up in the teams and workplaces and enriching the lives of other people. Also, a lot of classes on Zoom coming up. Check those all out on my website, as well as, of course, Enneagram and relationship coaching. So let's dive into this strength of developer. Now, I've got these little Clifton Strength Finder cards, as well as a little book that I've been using in this study called StrengthsFinder 2.0 by Tom Rath, and then, of course, my own thoughts and reflections and my own notes. And let's just take a second and review this card, what it says about this strength of developer. It says, people exceptionally talented in the developer theme recognize and cultivate potential in others. So you're the kind of person that sees the potential in other people. Like you see something good or something that could be improved, and you are an encouraging person that shows up in that person's life, maybe at the right moment, to help them to see the potential in themselves that maybe they don't see. They spot signs of each small improvement and derive satisfaction from the evidence of progress. And so there's this sense in which, you find this fulfillment in making other people's lives better. As you see somebody, growing and maturing and improving, when you can come alongside of that person and develop them, when you can come alongside of that person and encourage them or give them some kind of advising in some way, it makes you feel energized, excited, and there's a certain level of satisfaction or value that you receive in bringing value to other people. What a fantastic gift. I wish I scored a lot higher in this than I do. I score, 17 out of 34 strengths, so kind of there in the middle for me. And I think it's something that all of us could work on. Some of you guys are naturally developers, and the rest of us maybe need to improve this a little bit in our lives or work on it. And that's just the way it is with all these strengths. You're not going to be number one in every one of these. There's going to be some order for each of us. That's kind of what makes Strength Finders interesting, is as you take the test, as you do the Strength Finders test and evaluate your strengths, you're able to see, it kind of helps you figure out like what careers might be meaningful to you or how you might show up at work or in a team. So let's look at the points that are on this card, and then we'll talk about them. So the first one is I am, or my being statement is I am patient with the inexperienced and unseasoned. And by the way, we will relate these back to the Enneagram. As you read this card, as I read this card, I can't help but think of some Enneagram types that start to come to the top that may tend to score high in this strength of developer. So I'm patient with the inexperienced and unseasoned. And, let's face it, a lot of us are not very patient with people. We get frustrated when people don't know what they're doing, or they don't seem to be competent in their work. But developers, they have to have a certain level of patience with people, recognizing that nobody's done yet. Everybody's growing, everybody's improving, And a developer understands this naturally and then slows down to come alongside of people where they're at. I will, or the doing statement is, I will get satisfaction from the growth of others. So other people's success is a reflection on you. It's like your success. As they become successful, you get this joy in seeing them, finish a task or complete a program or step up to the plate. You get like a coach or a mentor, think teacher, coach, mentor, advisor, human resources, as you see, and even manager, as you see your team members improving and being successful, there's a certain level of satisfaction that you derive from other people's growth. And knowing that you had a small part, maybe a significant part, but you had a part in that person, accomplishing what they're accomplishing now, or their growth. Here's the contribution, I bring a commitment to human growth or to a person's growth, development, and maturity. And so, that's going to require, and this is where we're going to lose some of us, that's going to require commitment. It's going to require responsibility, a sense of concern for other people and their success. It's going to require time and energy. And some of us are so focused on our own success or our own priorities or our own goals that maybe we don't want to take the time away from those, or we can't justify the time away from focusing on those in order to come alongside of somebody else. In other words, it's hard for us to drop everything we're doing in order to come alongside of another person. Okay, here's the requirement for somebody who scores high in this, I need someone to invest in. I need a little nest of birds, that I can pour my life into, or I can pour my energy into, I can pour my optimism, my positivity into, and help them succeed or achieve or accomplish or overcome and, influence. I need some little group or some little, nest, a person at least, a youth group or a classroom or a team or somebody that will accept. And let's be clear that not everybody's going to accept your desire to work on them. There's going to be many people that might resist that. Like they're just not comfortable with you giving them that attention, or they feel obligated and they don't like that feeling. Or they may think, I'm doing really good already, thank you very much. I'm the expert in the room, I don't need your insight. Or it feels like criticism to them. Your developing could feel like you're being critical of them, and it actually could be. I mean, some people can be very critical, and their desire to help others can come across as criticism. And so a developer needs somebody to pour into. Like you need people above you that are helping you grow and helping you mature, but you also need people that, I don't want to say beneath you, but beside you. Let's just say that. You need people beside you that you are caring about, concerned about, and investing in, or discipling, or however you want to say it, developing. Okay? I love or value human potential and progress. Like you love sharing your wisdom, your insights, your failures, your experiences. You love sharing that with somebody else to help guide, encourage them along the road and help them down the path a little further. What great people! What great people! My brother-in-law who turned me on to CliftonStrengthsFinders, Barry, is a 9-wing 1, and I think this might be one of his highest, if not his highest strength. And I can't help but think of him when I think of this strength. And he works as an advisor at a major university up in Indiana, advising students and helping them figure out what they want to do with their lives, which is kind of ironic and kind of interesting when you think about 9s helping other people figure out what they want to do in their life. Often 9s are very good at that, even though they might struggle with it for themselves. I love human potential. I love progress. I hate, or this is what frustrates a developer, and you might think, what, I hate stuff? I don't hate anything. It's interesting because these cards, as you learn your strength, you also see the other side of it and see what frustrates you or what drives you crazy. And it says, I hate wasted or unrealized potential. like seeing that young person especially, or that teenager that just is apathetic or has all kinds of talents or has all kinds of abilities or all kinds of opportunities, but isn't inclined to move toward those. Instead, just, lays low or doesn't, invest themselves or their energy in moving forward. And that could really frustrate a developer when they see, man, you have the whole world in front of you. You have so many options and so much potential. And they won't, move forward, or they won't own their opportunities or own their life. So I hate unrealized or wasted potential. The metaphor is a parent's patience with a baby learning to walk. So that's kind of the metaphor, is like that concern of a parent, to be right there next to that kid who's, toddling, to help them stabilize. And then what do parents do? Yay, you did it. You did a great job. You don't get angry and yell at a kid because, oh, you fell down. No, it's the opposite. Like, you use positivity and you put mom on one side of the room and dad on the other, or older brother on the other, and the toddler walks back and forth between you. And the whole time there's this atmosphere of praise and, excitement and enthusiasm and love. And when they fall down, you pick them back up and you help them keep going. Or think about like a dad or a mom running alongside the bicycle as this 5-year-old or 6-year-old learns to ride a bike. They're going to fall. That they're going to maybe hurt themselves, but still you know that the reward is worth the risk. And so you run alongside of them and you lose. This is one of the reasons I think it makes us so happy, is you lose all thought of yourself. As you're so focused on this other person, you're so focused on their achievement, you're so focused on the excitement that they're feeling and that they're overcoming some fear or overcoming some obstacle, you completely lose yourself in this moment. And of course, that's when we often feel the most excited and the most happy, when we're not thinking about ourselves. And then later, you might look back and think, wow, that was really fulfilling, or I got a great sense of accomplishment or purpose out of that. I feel like my life is making a difference because I see the results of that difference in other people's lives. What a great strength this is. I love it. Okay, the barrier is you might waste some time or some energy on people that are never, let's face it, they're never going to materialize into all that they could be. So you might think like low performers or just apathetic people. And that could be very frustrating if you invest all this time and all this energy and all this attention, and then those people either betray you, turn against you, or they resent you, or they just don't, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't seem like it. That could be very, very disheartening, very discouraging, and you could maybe struggle. Okay, so how does this strength compare with or contrast with maybe a couple of other strengths? So on this card it says, contrast the developer with like the maximizer. Okay, and it says, I notice and promote the growth in others, where the maximizer notices and promotes excellence. And promoting other people to excellence isn't the same as, promoting excellence itself. And then the developer versus the achiever. I'm interested in getting people done, the developer, and the achiever, I'm interested in getting the work done. I thought that was pretty helpful. Okay, now back to this book, StrengthsFinder 2.0. I thought there was some really great comments here in this that I think could be encouraging and challenging to all of us. He says about the developer, he says, you tend to see the potential in other people. We got it. In fact, potential might be all you see. You just see what people could become, and you realize that no individual is fully formed. So think like, imagine, I put myself in the shoes of like maybe a 3rd grade teacher or a 4th grade teacher, as these little kids are coming into the classroom for the first day and they're taking their seats, and you've taught for 10 years. So your curriculum, what you're going to be doing this year in math, what you're going to be doing in reading, what you're going to be doing in science and history, and the field trips you're going on, and you've been doing this, you're seasoned, what the year is going to contain, but the kids don't know. they have never met you before. This is their first day in 4th grade. And that excitement that you might feel as a teacher, knowing the journey you're about to take these kids on, knowing that some are going to thrive while others might lag behind. But you can see as those little faces come in the room, you can see you can already see in your mind where you're going to take them. And I think developers think like that. They see the potential, they see the possibilities, and they already have in mind, the destination that they want to help this person reach. So awesome. People like this make the world go round. People like this come into our lives. They come into our lives maybe at just the right moment. And maybe they create the right moment. Maybe any moment would be the right moment, but they kind of create the right moment. And, they just bump us ever so slightly in a different direction than maybe we would have gone down if it hadn't have been for them. And you talk about worth and value. I mean, you're already probably thinking like 2s and maybe some 3-wing 2s, some 1-wing 2s, could be some 1-wing 9s as well. But I think, 9s and 6s and maybe some 7s. But I start to already think about some Enneagram types that come to mind. And you think about 2s, finding their worth and value often in their connections with other people and their helping of other people. What a beautiful thing. I know that I've had these people in my life at just the right time. And maybe some of them didn't even intend to do this, but they did it anyway. Their intention wasn't to develop me. Their intention was to instruct or give information, or maybe just even their presence. Their integrity or their core as a person, their convictions start to develop and rub off on me. And others have been much more intentional. I'm sure when I was a teenager, there were a lot of people that thought I was a lost cause. They told my wife, if you marry Tommy, you're going to end up living in a van down by the river. Because I was a 7. I didn't know I was a 7 at the time, but as a young person, all I could think was, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of school. I'm going to buy a van. I'm going to drive west to California. I listened to the Beach Boys, and I listened to Brian Wilson, and I listened, I just like, I got to get out of here. I'm going to Colorado. I was listening to John Denver as a teenager. Iron Maiden, too. I mean, I listened to all the rock bands, all the 80s, man. The late 80s was a great time for glam, big hair rock, but these other artists made a big impression on me as well, and I thought, I'm gonna live in the mountains in a van in Colorado, and then I'm gonna drive down in the winter to Los Angeles, and I'm gonna live in a van at the beach, and I'm just gonna, work part-time and eat tacos and play guitar, and that was my plan. And I remember when, the teachers found out that Traci and I were dating, they were like, Traci, she's a 2-wing 1. She's, serious and put together and smart and beautiful. And they were like, if you marry this guy, you're going to live in a van on the beach. And, it's amazing how she's been a big part of helping me be more settled, of course. But what was I talking about? I don't know. I lost my train of thought. Okay, so let's keep going here. No individual is fully formed. In fact, on the contrary, each individual is a work in progress. And, for this very reason, you feel this like compulsion or this impulse to mentor, to guide, to share your life, to invest your life. So good. I can't imagine being a pastor and not, having any of this. Actually, you'd probably be more like a professor than a pastor if you didn't have any of this. But, teachers, pastors, coaches, counselors, managers. I mean, what a great skill this is. What a great thing. And again, I didn't score super high in this. That's kind of the way it is, like you can read some of these cards and think, oh, I wish I was more like this. Why does my number one skill strength have to be positivity? Okay, gotta put my glasses back on. All right, when you interact with others, your goal is to help them experience success. You look for ways to challenge them. You devise interesting experiences to help people stretch, to help them grow. Like you might kind of push the birds a little bit out of the nest to help them to see that they can fly on their own. You see small improvements or incremental improvements as clear signs that potential is being realized. People are growing, and that fuels you and that motivates you and gives you a sense of satisfaction, and that sense of helping or coming alongside of people gives you energy and energizes you. Doesn't mean you don't get tired. I'm sure you do get tired. Watching people discover things about themselves and abilities about themselves that they never would have dreamed possible if it hadn't have been for you. Seeing yourself make an impact in the world gives you a sense of value. Okay, now here's kind of some warnings. He's like, wait a minute, caution. You could get very discouraged if you invest a lot of time and energy and people don't appreciate it, or they respond negatively to it. You might back up and say, fine, you know what? I'm not going to help anybody anymore. I tried that and I was criticized, and people said I had bad motives, that I was just trying to, accomplish my goal or my ends, and I'm done. I'm never helping anybody else. That is a real danger, I think, that could happen. He says, another warning, be careful not to invest all of your time and energy in lost causes. And I'm sure that there's some 8s that hear that and go, absolutely there's lost causes, or 1s, absolutely there's lost causes, or 5s, absolutely. But I think if you score high as a developer, it's probably hard for you to accept the fact that some people are lost causes. Like, no, just a little bit more. If I could just get through, if I could just break through, if I could just get the right metaphor to break through this, I could help this person. It may be hard to say out loud, I think Marty is a lost cause. Like, I think, what's the point? It's not working. That could be a hard, stark realization maybe for you, that a person is a lost cause. You may not want to accept that fact. I don't think I want to accept that fact. Your developer talents might lead you to become so invested in the growth of others that you ignore your own development. You're giving everything away. You're giving so much energy and attention away that maybe you are exhausting yourself, or you're not growing anymore. You can't give to others what you don't possess yourself. You can't inspire others if you're not inspired. You can't give enthusiasm away if you don't have any enthusiasm. So you need to make sure to take care of yourself. I think that's kind of the point of that. Let's see. I think we've talked about all of this. Let's talk about Enneagram types. Okay, you can't get away from it. You're going to have to start with type 2. I mean, this just sounds like type 2. Now, again, a type 2 could become jaded. They could become, frustrated, or they feel like they were criticized, or they were taken for granted. Never take a 2 for granted. Never criticize a 1, right? And so if you were criticized or taken for granted, or somebody pushed back on you and made you feel like your help wasn't helpful, or that you were meddling, or that you were being pushy, or you were manipulating others, you can see that 2 backing up and being like, I'm done. I'm not volunteering anymore. If my help is a problem, I'm done. I'm not going to be a problem for people. So 2s, I think, could become jaded, just like any of us could be. But in their core, in their beautiful core, look, you want to come alongside of people. You want to invest your life and your energy and your time and your heart in others. And if you've got that 3-wing, to help them overcome obstacles and live their best life and to accomplish everything that they could accomplish, you've also got that success drive, with that 3-wing. And every 2, hey, listen, remember, every 2 has a 3-wing. You might be a 2-wing 1, but that doesn't mean you don't have a 3-wing. You just might need to lean into that a little bit more, and accept the fact that moving toward goals and pushing toward goals is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And when you come alongside to help somebody and then move them toward that goal, well, it's just a wonderful thing. And it's, of course, 3-wing 2s. On the other side of that, starting with the task or the goal and then merging over to care about people as well and bring them along and coach them and mentor them. Beautiful thing. So I can't help but think of 2s and 3s. I think 1s as well, especially 1-wing 2s. I've seen some one-wing twos that literally they fit that definition or that title of mentor, advocate, teacher. They feel so responsible to help guide people in a better way or a correct way or a right way. And I think ones, especially one-wing twos, could certainly be developers. And I think nines, a lot of nines, and there may be sort of like a dark side to that. Like, well, their life matters. Their life matters. Their future matters. And I want to help the people that matter. I don't really matter. And of course, you do 100% matter. You are a real person, and we're glad that you are here. And your presence matters. What do every nine need to hear? Your presence matters. Your voice matters. Your opinion matters. Let's make space for you. But nines generally are wired to make space for others, put down their work and their assignments to care about somebody else and their needs. And I think nines, like my brother-in-law Barry, could be very wired to be developers. I think sixes, and maybe six-wing fives, but I think especially six-wing sevens, especially self-preservation sixes, the ones that are more friendly, look like twos, outgoing, building a little team around them. I think sixes don't want to mess up. They don't want to fail. They don't want to have that anxiety, and so they could constantly encourage others. You're doing great. You're doing wonderful. Keep going. Let me create an environment where there's no anxiety, where there's no fear, and where you are fully supported. A little bit of guidance and assurance along the way to help you feel secure. What they want, they often provide for others. Isn't that the way it is? The things we want, we often provide for others. And so I think sixes could be super developers. And I think some sevens, like myself, especially counter sevens, we could be developers. But like I said, I scored middle range on this, so I think the problem with sevens is we may be a little too self-focused or self-referencing. Again, I think eights could do this. Yes, I think every type could do this. Every type could become developers. I'm just trying to make some connections here of what types it might be easier or more natural for. So yeah, eights, especially counter eights, the team leader could definitely be this person as well, the social eight. But every one of us could. The problem is one of the challenges to becoming a developer is we're so focused on ourselves accomplishing the goal that we don't have time to slow down to help somebody else. Or we are impatient with failure, or we're impatient with people who are not making progress, or people who become apathetic. Or we may just have a difficulty in understanding other people and understanding their challenges. We could have so busy a schedule of our own that we're not able to give time or energy to other people. And like I said before, there's burnout. Maybe you were great at this, but you're just tired. You're just exhausted, or you fear rejection, or you're so competitive that it's hard for you to be collaborative, or you're just so introverted. You're just so introverted or shy or whatever you want to call it. That it's hard for you to break the ice with people and walk across the room. It's amazing what can happen. The change that we can bring if we're willing to first just walk across the room. To see somebody, to see potential, or to see a possibility, or to see a need, or see something that, even bothers us. You might just see something that bothers you. And to not just shrug your shoulders and walk away, but to be willing to walk across the room and tap somebody on the shoulder and say, hey, I noticed something. I'd like to help you with this, or I'd like to encourage you with this, or I noticed you being friendly or kind. I really want to tell you how much I appreciate that. Or I noticed you, whatever it is, you did a great job with this. I just want to encourage you. That willingness to just walk across the room and invest your life in other people. Man, that's what it's all about. That's really what it's all about. Let's face it, life is hard, life is challenging, and you don't need to be alone, and you're not alone. There's people around you that want to love you and care about you, and maybe it doesn't feel like that right now. And that can feel very alone, very, very difficult, but I'm here, and if you want to reach out to me, I'd love to work with you and talk with you through whatever you're going through right now. I can't fix it. I can't just wave a magic wand and make everything great in your life. If I could, I would, believe me. But I can't. you know, you're going to make it one step at a time. And sometimes you just need somebody to come alongside of you that believes in you and helps you see what maybe you don't see about yourself. And again, things like CliftonStrengthsFinders, Myers-Briggs, DISC, you know, there's a lot of these different personality profiles, and of course the Enneagram. They're all good at helping us see things about ourselves, strengths and potential weaknesses that maybe we wouldn't see otherwise, and then help us to find a way to move forward. And that's what this is all about, moving forward. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. And as always, be present to life. I'll see you next time.